Now, there's two little letters when it's badged on a vehicle that means so much, those being GT, known as Grand Tourer. Hey, and welcome to this edition of Road Warrior. I'm your host, Grant Roberson. Now, the GT has been badged on numerous vehicles over the last decades, everything from Pontiac, Toyota, all the way up to Maserati. And what Grand Tourer really means is a vehicle that has either high speed or can deliver long, spirited rides. Now, behind me is another offering. It's a 2014 Hyundai Elantra GT, and what I noticed over my kind of week-long stint is it delivers just that, a nice spirited ride in that typical GT-like look. Now, with the GT badging covering such a wide variety of vehicles, you really can't compare them all to one another because this is no Maserati. But by the definition, it really means either a high-speed or a long-spirited ride, with this really being the latter. Now, this vehicle does compare up to the VW Golf, the Mazda 3, and the Ford Focus. And what this vehicle delivers compared to that of Maserati is enough seating really for 4 to 5 people, and it comes in this kind of 5-door sport hatchback-like design. Now, one could argue the most important part found on the GT is going to be up here under the hood in that spirited ride, but really on this 5-door design, to me, it all culminates here at the back end. Now, by the numbers, this vehicle measures about 169 inches with a 104-inch wheelbase. Now, if you notice, the wheels have really been pushed to the corners, and that's going to maximize that interior space. Now, with the definition of GT, you do deliver that long spirited ride, but it must be coupled with the ability to deliver people and their cargo. Now, this vehicle really does that well. It really crosses into the line of the CUV segment, really back here at the back end. Now, by the numbers, this cargo is around about 23 cubic feet of space, more than the VW Golf and the Mazda 3. Now, before we dive into the cargo area, one thing we talk about is smart key systems, and this vehicle comes with it. Now, it comes with also 2 buttons, one here on the driver door and one on the front passenger. And what that allows you to do is keep the key in your pocket, walk up, press it once to open the door, press it again to unlock all the rest. Now, on the passenger side, you press it once, it's going to unlock everything. Now, it does apply here to the rear hatch as well. If the vehicle is locked, you walk right up with the key in your pocket, and it's going to electronic release here on the handle. Now, once it rises up, you're going to notice this kind of tonneau cover. That's going to kind of treat this like a trunk, really kind of hiding all your valuables from plain view. Now, again, this area is about 23 cubic feet of space, more than a typical sedan, and on average for maybe a SUV or CUV. Now, really what the advantages are to a hatchback is what you see, a huge vast opening. Now, it does have just a little bit of an arch, which means a square box isn't going to fit, but we'll get into kind of folding those seats down in a minute. Now, when you look back here, you're going to find typical cargo floor, but what's great is it has compartments. One of the biggest kind of new innovations is really compartmentalizing the rear flat cargo area. Now, you'll notice a little niche here on the left side, one there on the right, and then a huge floor that opens right up. Now, right in the middle is kind of a foam material, real shallow, but it really would hold tools or other items that you want to store, you know, kind of permanently in the vehicle. Now, even better, under that, you remove it, is a spare as well, should you need it. Now, one of the funnest aspects about a 5-door like this is really transforming it from people hauler to cargo, and it's made fairly simple with this kind of backseat design. Now, you'll notice the headrest, this one really not being a problem, but these two could be if the front seat backs are kind of too far back, but it's made simple to remove them. You just pull up, but you will have to move the seat forward just a hair before you can remove them. Now, other than that, this is kind of a 70-30, 80-20 kind of split, and the handles are right here on the shoulders on both sides, and really is fairly simple. Just pull on it, fold it forward, and it's going to kind of give you one kind of seamless cargo area, almost doubling the amount of space. And again, that's key here because this is a huge opening, and really kind of flooding this with boxes is really made simple and can take this to a 2-passenger, but tons of cargo. Now, the GT aims to be more responsive and offer better control behind the wheel. That versus the sedan model really delivers comfort. Now, the way they do that is with McPherson struts with coil springs and gas shock absorbers up front, a bigger stabilizer bar. Now, the rear end, they have higher spring rates, a stiffer twist beam, and Sachs dampeners. Now, overall, when you look at the tire size, you're looking at 16-inch standard with the 17-inch models you see here. Now, one thing I love to do on smaller vehicles is really kind of minimize chrome. Now, they don't really do that there on the wheel. I would prefer more of a brushed aluminum, but overall, that's about the only chrome that's really going to kind of stand out. Really around the windows, they're doing what most designers are doing, kind of minimizing it with black, touch of chrome accent here, and I like the fact that we went with body color handles on the doors as well. Now in any GT model, really knowing what the horsepower is under the hood is going to be one of the key features. Now what's great for 2014, that has been increased. Now this engine this year is going to be a 2.0 liter 4-cylinder gasoline direct injection engine. Now that compared to the 1.8 liter last year. Now what does that translate to is of course more horsepower. Now for this year it's going to be 173 horses and 154 foot-pounds of torque. That compared to last year's mere 148 horses and 131 foot-pounds of torque. Now what's great is this vehicle can be coupled with either a 6-speed automatic transmission or the as-tested 6-speed manual. Now with a GT, I of course have to argue that you've got to do the clutch dance because it really gives you that more spirited and sportier ride. Now once you climb inside the GT, this is where you see this sport-inspired atmosphere, really starting with the kind of sport-inspired seating. Now by the legroom numbers, you got about 42 inches of legroom up front with about 34 inches in the back. Now you can accommodate a little bit more room as you slide those front seats forward, but this truly won't hold any NBA star. Now this vehicle priced in around about $25,000, but came with innovations that you expect kind of on a higher end vehicle. Most notable really is that huge LCD screen front and center. Now it really houses everything at a touch, really the navigation, the media, Bluetooth, and the phone, all really housed on kind of one screen. Now as you scroll down, you'll notice the kind of optional dual climate control we have here, the huge fan selection in the middle, and we do have heated seats as well. Now one thing you need to think about is the connectivity, and they have that just fine here underneath with the USB connection, the auxiliary jack, and of course 2 power supplies as well. Now one thing we've noticed a lot of is kind of opening up the cabin. The way they do that really with this kind of center niche is on the sides, it really kind of is see-through all the way through. Now it kind of gives you a little bit more open air versus kind of a hidden console that a lot of vehicles are doing right here. Now between the front seats, you're going to find the typical cup holders, little coin area, and the center console. Now one thing to think about on the console is there's really no connections in there. There's no power supplies, no USB connection, so you can't really hide your devices in there, while you're going down the road. Now this kind of center armrest is really unique, basically allowing it to slide forward to give you better arm support and kind of tuck out of the way when you don't need it. Now as for the rest of the design, you're going to find typical gauge clusters here behind the steering wheel with a huge speedometer and tachometer on the left with a little bit of a display in between. Now the display in the middle is a little bit limited, really kind of giving you up-to-date trip information, while other vehicles kind of give you a few more settings than they offer here. Now on the steering wheel, you're going to find controls for your stereo and for your cruise control as well. Now that does it for this edition of Road Warrior and our test drive behind the wheel of the 2014 Hyundai Elantra GT. Now don't forget, GT can mean a Maserati, or it means exactly what you see here. The key being those long, spirited rides that can deliver the people and the cargo, and this 5-passenger 5-door model really does that well. Now I'd like to thank you for watching this edition of Road Warrior, and as always, keep both hands on the wheel and eyes straight ahead.
What?